Okay, so here we are in the viewport, or in paper space, and if I double click in here, you can see I've activated my viewport. I can move around so that I can see things in my viewport at the moment just by holding down the middle mouse button. To check my scale, I can come down here to this box and it's set to 1 to 250, which is what I want, but if I click on the arrow I can set it to something else. Once I have my plan positioned exactly as I want it, let's say this is what I am after, I can double click outside the viewport, select the viewport itself and come over here to the properties. I've got the properties box to come down the side here. I like to have it down the side here, and I've done that just by clicking on this arrow up here. So what I want to do is come over here and go to display locked, yes. What happens then is if I click in this viewport, I can't actually move that plan around. And that's quite useful for not accidentally losing my scale. With that viewport activated like that, I am going to come up here and open my layer properties box, and I'm just going to talk about the viewport freeze box. So let's say I didn't want my arrows to show up in this viewport. You can see that they're there at the moment. When I'm in an active viewport, I can actually just freeze particular layers in specific viewports. So I can just freeze the arrows in here if I wanted to, which I don't want to do at the moment. One of the other things that I discussed in the previous video was looking at making that path outline a bit thicker. So I think the existing paths are, at the moment, they are 0.35, and what I have done is I've made these be 0.35 as well. As you can see, there are two options here. I can do that by viewport, or I can do it universally. Here it's done by viewport, which is fine. That will override the universal. But in this certain circumstance, I would say that universally I also want those paths to be 0.35 as well. So I'm just going to set that there. And that's that.